Captain Do-hyun Kang stared at the screen with cold eyes. The message from command made his jaw tight. They wanted him to escort an alien ship. A Velkari ship. The same aliens who had destroyed the Mars colony 7 years ago. The same aliens who killed 3,000 humans, including his younger brother. "Sir, the diplomatic vessel is entering the neutral zone," Lieutenant Nari said from her station. Her voice was calm, but Do-hyun knew her well. She was worried too. "I see it," Do-hyun replied. His enhanced vision picked up the ship on the long-range sensors. It was damaged. Hull breaches on 3 sections. Life support failing. Someone had attacked them. Part of him wanted to turn the ship around, let the aliens deal with their own problems. But orders were orders. The peace talks needed this diplomatic ship to arrive safely. If it was destroyed, the fragile ceasefire would shatter. War would begin again. "All crew to battle stations," Do-hyun ordered. "Prepare for possible engagement." His ship, the Soul Guardian, moved forward. As they approached, alarms blared. 3 smaller ships were attacking the diplomatic vessel. They bore Velkari markings, but something was wrong. These were extremists, Do-hyun realized. Velkari who didn't want peace. "They're firing on their own people," Nari said, surprise in her voice. "Target the attacking vessels. Fire when ready," Do-hyun commanded. This wasn't about helping aliens. This was about stopping extremists who wanted war. The Soul Guardian's weapons fired. Plasma bolts struck one extremist ship, sending it spinning away. But the other 2 kept attacking. The diplomatic ship's shields flickered and died. A massive explosion tore through its hull. Multiple hull breaches. "They're venting atmosphere," Nari shouted. Do-hyun's tactical display showed life signs scattered throughout the damaged ship. Most were still alive, but not for long. One signal caught his attention. It was stronger than the others, located in an exposed section. Someone important was dying out there in the vacuum of space. He didn't think. Military training took over. Do-hyun was already moving toward the airlock. "Captain, what are you doing?" Nari called after him. "Finishing the mission," he replied. "Keep those extremist ships busy." Minutes later, Do-hyun was floating in space. His suit's thrusters pushed him toward the broken diplomatic ship. Debris spun past him, sharp metal edges glinting in starlight. He focused on the life sign ahead. Through a torn section of hull, he saw her. A Velkari. Female, he guessed, though their species was hard to read. She wore elegant robes that were now frozen and torn. Her skin had strange glowing patterns that pulsed weakly. She was conscious but fading fast. Do-hyun grabbed a piece of wreckage and pulled himself closer. The Velkari's eyes found his. They were large and luminous, filled with pain and something else. Recognition? No, that was impossible. They had never met. He reached out his gloved hand toward her. She reached back. Their hands touched. Everything exploded. Not physically, mentally. Do-hyun felt his mind ripped open. Memories that weren't his flooded through him. He saw a crystal city with towers that touched the clouds. He felt the pride of an ancient empire. He experienced childhood lessons about honor and duty. He watched his brother die on Mars, except it wasn't his brother, it was her cousin. And it wasn't Mars, it was a Velkari colony destroyed by human extremists. At the same time, she was experiencing him. His memories poured into her consciousness. She saw Earth through his eyes, felt his grief when Mars burned, understood his hatred for her people. And she felt his shock when he learned that the Mars massacre was ordered by a rogue Velkari commander, one her father had executed in secret shame. The connection lasted only seconds but felt like hours. When it ended, Do-hyun was gasping inside his helmet. The Velkari woman stared at him with wide eyes. Her glowing patterns had turned colors he didn't recognize. Do-hyun didn't let go. He pulled her toward his ship, moving as fast as his thrusters allowed. Behind them, the diplomatic vessel exploded as its core finally gave out. The shockwave pushed them faster. They reached the Soul Guardian's airlock. Crew members pulled them inside. Medical teams rushed forward as pressure returned to the chamber. Someone removed Do-hyun's helmet. He was still breathing hard. The Velkari woman was placed on a medical bed. Her robes were removed, revealing more of her glowing skin. A translator device was clipped to her throat. She looked directly at Do-hyun. "Thank you," she said in perfect human standard. Her voice was musical, strange. "I am Princess Arin of House Valara, a princess." Do-hyun had just saved a princess of the Velkari Imperium, the same empire that had killed thousands of his people. "Captain Do-hyun Kang," he replied automatically. Arin's eyes never left his face. Her expression was complicated. Fear, wonder, horror, all three? What happened when we touched? Do-hyun asked. What was that? Arin's glowing patterns shifted to darker colors. Psychic resonance. My people are telepathic. When we touch someone, we connect mentally. But with humans, she paused, searching for words. With humans, the connection is too strong. Too deep, it's forbidden. Forbidden? Do-hyun felt anger rising. You're saying that was illegal? Taboo, Arin corrected. Our minds work differently. When a Valkyrie touches a human, the resonance can become permanent. It can bind us together forever. That's why our species have avoided physical contact. Do-hyun remembered the flood of memories. The intimacy of it. He had seen her entire life in those seconds. Her hopes, her fears, her secret love of human poetry that she studied against her father's wishes. It was one touch, he said. That can't be permanent. Arin looked away. No, but it started. If we touch again, the bond will grow stronger. Eventually. She didn't finish. Eventually what? Eventually our minds will merge. We would become two bodies sharing one consciousness. It's considered an abomination by my people, and I suspect yours would feel the same. Silence filled the medical bay. The implications were staggering. Do-hyun had just accidentally started some kind of alien mental marriage. Then we don't touch again. Do-hyun said firmly. Simple. Arin's patterns flickered with an emotion he somehow understood. Sadness. Simple, she agreed softly. We must never do that again. But even as she said it, Do-hyun felt something. A presence at the edge of his thoughts. Faint and distant, but unmistakably her. The connection hadn't fully closed. And from the way Arin's eyes widened, she felt it too. They stared at each other across the medical bay. Two enemies from species at war. Two people who had accidentally seen into each other's souls. Two minds that were already beginning to reach for each other despite every reason not to. Nari's voice broke the moment. Captain, Command is asking for your report. They want to know if the diplomatic mission succeeded. Do-hyun forced himself to look away from Arin. Tell them the diplomatic vessel was destroyed, but we rescued the primary passenger. Princess Arin will continue to the peace summit aboard our ship. Understood, sir. EDA to Sanctuary Station is 48 hours. 48 hours on the same ship. 48 hours of carefully not touching. 48 hours of pretending he couldn't feel her presence at the edge of his mind. Warm and bright and absolutely forbidden. Do-hyun knew, with the certainty of a man who had already fallen, that this was going to be the longest 2 days of his life. Sanctuary Station hung in the darkness between human and Valkyrie space. It was massive, built by both civilizations as neutral ground. Crystal towers mixed with human steel architecture. Valkyrie gardens grew next to human hydroponics. It was meant to be a symbol of peace. Instead, it felt like a cage. Do-hyun stood in the observation deck watching ships arrive. Human vessels from Earth and the colonies. Valkyrie ships that looked like artwork made of metal and light, all carrying diplomats, ambassadors, and soldiers disguised as guards. Everyone smiled and spoke of peace while keeping weapons within reach. The journey from the rescue point had been difficult. Do-hyun avoided Arin as much as possible on his ship. But the connection between them was growing. He felt her emotions like echoes in his mind. Sadness, curiosity, fear, and sometimes when she thought about him, something warmer that made his chest tight. Captain. Nari approached him carefully. Ambassador Park wants to brief you on summit protocol. The opening ceremonies begin in 2 hours. Do-hyun nodded. Tell her I'll be there in 10 minutes. Nari hesitated. Sir, I have to ask. What happened between you and Princess Arin? The crew has noticed you've been different since the rescue. Different. That was one way to put it. Do-hyun slept badly now. His dreams were filled with images from Arin's memories. Crystal cities, alien music, a childhood on a world he'd never visited, and always her presence at the edge of his consciousness. It's nothing, Do-hyun lied. Just stress from the mission. Nari didn't look convinced, but she didn't push. Sir, there's something else. We've detected unusual communications from the station, encrypted signals to unknown sources. Someone here is sending information they shouldn't be. That got Do-hyun's attention. Show me. Hours later, Do-hyun stood in a formal reception hall. Humans and Valkyrie mixed awkwardly, making small talk through translators. Ambassador Hee-jin Park worked the room with practiced skill, smiling and shaking hands and tentacles and various other appendages. She believed in this peace process with her whole heart. Do-hyun wished he had her faith. Then Erin entered. She wore formal robes now, elegant and flowing. Her skin patterns glowed in colors that rippled like water. Every Velkari in the room turned to look at her. She was royalty, and it showed. But when her eyes found Do-hyun across the crowded hall, something in those patterns changed. He felt it through their connection, recognition, relief, hunger. Do-hyun forced himself to look away. This was dangerous. They had agreed. No more touching, no more connection. They had to keep their distance, but fate had other plans. A tall Velkari approached Aaron. Lord Commander Tavik, her military guardian. Do-hyun had read the files on him. Ruthless, brilliant, completely opposed to peace with humans. His body language was aggressive even by Velkari standards. Through the connection, Do-hyun felt Aaron's discomfort spike into fear. Tavik was angry with her. Something about the rescue. About being alone with humans. About contamination. Do-hyun moved before thinking. He crossed the hall in long strides. "Princess Erin," he said loudly enough for others to hear. "Ambassador Park wishes to introduce you to the Earth delegation." It was a complete lie, but it gave Erin an excuse to move away from Tavik. She took it gratefully. "Of course, Captain. Lord Commander, we will speak later." Tavik's eyes narrowed as he looked at Do-hyun. The Velkari's patterns shifted to dark red, a color that meant threat. "Captain Kang, the hero who saved our princess. How fortunate that you were there." The words were polite. The tone was poison. "Just doing my duty, Lord Commander," Do-hyun replied. "Protecting diplomatic missions is what we signed up for." Do-hyun led Aaron away, careful not to touch her. They reached a quieter corner of the hall. Aaron looked shaken. "Thank you," she said softly. "Tavik suspects something happened during the rescue. He's been questioning me about contamination protocols. Does he know about the connection?" "No, but he suspects. If he finds out." Aaron's patterns flickered with fear. "They will execute me. That is the law for contaminated bloodlines. That's insane. That is tradition. We Velkari have very strict rules about telepathic purity. Mixing our consciousness with an alien species is considered worse than death." Do-hyun felt anger rising. Not at Aaron, but at the situation. At laws that made love a crime. Love? Where had that thought come from? This wasn't love. It was just a psychic connection. An accident. But through their bond, he felt Aaron's response to his thoughts. Warmth. Hope. Longing. "We should split up," Do-hyun said quickly. "People are watching." Aaron nodded. But as she turned to leave, she whispered, "Tonight. Observation Deck 7, third watch. I found something about those encrypted signals. We need to talk." Then she was gone, flowing back into the crowd of diplomats and politicians. Do-hyun stood alone, his heart beating too fast. They were meeting in secret now. This was exactly what they shouldn't be doing. But she had found something. Information about those mysterious signals. Maybe this was about the mission. Not about them. Not about the way her presence in his mind felt like coming home. The opening ceremonies were long and boring. Speeches about hope and cooperation. Treaties signed with elaborate ceremony. Everyone pretending they trusted each other. Do-hyun barely paid attention. His mind kept drifting to the meeting ahead. Finally, third watch arrived. Observation Deck 7 was on the outer ring of the station, rarely used at this hour. Do-hyun checked to make sure no one followed him. The corridors were empty. Security was focused on the diplomatic quarters. Erin was already there, standing by the massive window that looked out into space. She had changed into simpler clothes. Her glowing patterns were dim, like she was trying to hide. "You came," she said. "You said you found something." Erin pulled out a small data device. "I've been monitoring communications in the Velkari delegation. Someone is sending encrypted messages to coordinates in the borderlands. I managed to decode part of one message. It mentioned your name and mine, and it mentioned an attack." Do-hyun felt cold. "What kind of attack?" "I don't know. But whoever sent it was coordinating with someone on the human side. This goes deeper than one faction. It's both sides working together." "Both sides?" That didn't make sense, unless someone wants the peace talks to fail. Someone who benefits from war. Erin nodded. "I think the attack on my ship wasn't random. I think it was the first move. They wanted me dead because I genuinely want peace. And now they're planning something bigger." Do-hyun thought about the encrypted signals Nari had found. Human and Velkari extremists working together. It made horrible sense. We need to tell someone. Ambassador Park or the Security Council? With what evidence? Partial messages and suspicions? They'll dismiss it. Or worse, they'll ask how we discovered this. How a human captain and Velkari princess are working together in secret. She was right. Any investigation would expose their connection. And that would end with Aren's execution and Do-hyun's court-martial. Then we investigate ourselves, Do-hyun said. Quietly. Find real evidence. Then we go public. Aren looked at him for a long moment. Through their connection, he felt what she was feeling. Fear, but also excitement. Purpose. They had a mission now. Something bigger than themselves. Together, she said. We do this together. Do-hyun should have said no. Should have walked away. But instead he nodded. Together. A loud alert suddenly blared through the station. Emergency lights flashed red. Aren's eyes went wide. Explosion in the diplomatic quarters, a voice announced over the station speakers. All security personnel respond immediately. Do-hyun and Aren ran toward the diplomatic section. Smoke filled the corridors. People were screaming. Human and Velkari security forces rushed around in chaos. They reached the main conference room. The doors had been blown apart. Inside, bodies lay scattered. Some human, some Velkari. Ambassador Park was alive but injured, bleeding from a head wound. Velkari diplomats helped each other toward the exits. In the center of the devastation stood a human man Do-hyun recognized. Admiral Tae-sik-yoon, his former commanding officer. The man who had trained him. The man who taught him to hate the Velkari. Yoon was speaking into a communicator. Phase 1 complete. The summit is compromised. Stand by for Phase 2. Before Do-hyun could move, someone grabbed Aren from behind. Lord Commander Tavik. He had a weapon pressed against her spine. Captain Kang, Tavik said calmly. How convenient that you're here. Now both problems can be eliminated at once, Do-hyun understood in that moment. Admiral Yoon and Lord Commander Tavik, working together. The encrypted signals. The attack. This whole thing was a conspiracy between human and Velkari extremists. They were trying to destroy the peace talks from within. And they were about to kill Aren right in front of him. Through their connection, Do-hyun felt Aren's terror, but also her determination. She wasn't going down without a fight. Her patterns flashed bright and she slammed her head backward into Tavik's face. The Velkari commander stumbled. Do-hyun moved. His enhanced reflexes kicked in. He crossed the space between them in a blur, tackling Tavik away from Aren. Weapons fire erupted. Admiral Yoon was shooting at them. Do-hyun grabbed Aren's hand and pulled her toward cover. The moment their skin touched, the psychic connection exploded with intensity. Both gasped as memories and emotions flooded between them. Stronger than before, deeper, more permanent. They dove behind an overturned table as plasma bolts burned the air above them. Do-hyun looked at Aren. Her eyes were wide. Her Patty, they barely escaped the conference room alive. Nari had arrived with security forces, giving them precious seconds to run. Now Do-hyun and Aren were locked in a secure medical bay, while the station descended into chaos. The explosion had killed 17 people. Both sides blamed each other. The peace summit was collapsing. Dr. Ji-won Song, a human xenobiologist, examined them both. She was young but brilliant, one of the few humans who had studied Velkari biology. Her face was serious as she reviewed the scan results. I need to know what happened between you two, Ji-won said. The truth, because these readings are impossible. Do-hyun and Aren exchanged glances. Through their bond, they communicated silently. Should they tell her? Could they trust her? Aren spoke first. We touched. During the rescue, our minds connected. Ji-won's eyes widened. Psychic resonance. But that should be temporary between different species. These scans show something permanent. Your neural patterns are synchronizing. You're forming a telepathic bond. How permanent? Do-hyun asked. Ji-won looked grim. Permanent as in forever. Velkari telepathic bonds are supposed to only work between Velkari, but somehow you two are forming one across species. If this continues, she paused, your minds will merge. You'll share thoughts, emotions, even physical sensations. You'll become two bodies with one consciousness. Can you stop it? Aren asked quietly. I don't know. Maybe if you never touch again. Stay completely apart. But the bond has already started. Breaking it now would cause massive psychological trauma, possibly fatal brain damage to both of you. The implications settled over them like a weight. They were stuck. Completing the bond would make them outcasts. Breaking it would kill them. They were trapped between two impossible choices. There's more, Jiwan continued. Your bond might be unique, but it's not unnatural. I've been studying Velkari and human biology for years. Our species are more compatible than anyone realized. The Velkari telepathic ability and human neuroplasticity create a perfect match. This bond you're forming, it might be evolution, not contamination. My people will never see it that way, Erin said. Her patterns had dimmed to almost nothing. They'll call it corruption. They'll execute me as an example. And my people will court-martial me for fraternizing with the enemy, Do-hyun added. Jiwan sat down heavily. Then we have a problem. Because based on these scans you two touched again recently, the bond accelerated. You're past the point of no return. Do-hyun remembered grabbing Arin's hand during the attack, pulling her to safety. The psychic explosion that followed. They had been so focused on survival that they hadn't considered the consequences. How long do we have? Erin asked. Before the bond completes? Maybe a week, maybe less if you keep touching. Once it's complete, there's no hiding it. Everyone will know, a week. 7 days to solve a conspiracy, save the peace talks, and figure out what to do about a forbidden bond that was becoming more real by the hour. Nari entered the medical bay looking stressed. Captain, we have a situation. Admiral Yoon has declared you a traitor. He's claiming you were working with Velkari extremists. There's a warrant for your arrest. That's insane. He's the traitor. He was coordinating the attack. I believe you, sir. But he has evidence. Fabricated evidence showing communications between you and known Velkari militants. And Princess Erin is being recalled to Velkara Prime for questioning about contamination protocols. Lord Commander Tavik has filed a formal complaint. They were being framed. Perfectly. The conspirators were eliminating their only opposition. We have to run, Erin said suddenly. It's the only way. Run where? Do-hyun demanded. We're on a space station. They control all the ships. Not all of them, Nari said slowly. There are cargo ships in the lower docks. Small civilian vessels. If we could steal one, that's desertion, Do-hyun said. We'd be confirming everything they're accusing us of. Or we stay and die, Erin replied. Through their bond, he felt her determination. We know the truth. We have proof of the conspiracy. But we need time to gather more evidence. Time we won't have if they arrest us. She was right. Do-hyun hated it, but she was right. They needed to disappear long enough to build a case that couldn't be ignored. I'm coming with you, Ji-won said. You'll need a medical officer. Especially with that bond of yours. And I have the research data about human Velkari compatibility. That could be important later. Me too, Nari added. Someone has to keep you two out of trouble. Do-hyun looked at his lieutenant. Nari, this is career suicide. You'll be branded a traitor. Better than letting the real traitors win, sir. I've served with you for 5 years. If you say Admiral Yoon is behind this, I believe you. They escaped through maintenance tunnels. Erin used her telepathic abilities to sense security patrols ahead. Do-hyun's military training kept them moving efficiently. Ji-won carried data files. Nari had managed to grab weapons and supplies. The lower docks were dimly lit and mostly automated. Cargo ships sat in neat rows waiting for loading. They found a small transport vessel, the kind used for short-range deliveries. Not fancy, but it had a working engine. Can you fly this? Arin asked. I can fly anything, Do-hyun replied, climbing into the pilot seat. Nari, get us clearance codes. Fake ones if you have to. Already on it, sir. Alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed across the docking bay. They found us, Ji-won said, looking at a security monitor. Security forces are heading this way. Do-hyun's hands flew over the controls. The ship's engines roared to life. Everyone strap in. This is going to be rough. The cargo ship lifted off without proper clearance. Station defense systems activated automatically. Warning shots fired across their bow. Do-hyun ignored them, pushing the engines to maximum. They burst through the station's defensive perimeter. More alarms, more warnings, then pursuit ships launched. Both human and Velkari vessels working together to catch the fugitives. Where are we going? Nari shouted over the noise of straining engines. The borderlands, Do-hyun replied. The contested space between our territories. It's dangerous, but neither side has full control there. We can hide while we gather evidence. Erin sat in the co-pilot seat. Her hand drifted toward Do-hyun's on the controls. She stopped herself just in time. The borderlands are filled with pirates and scavengers, and the ruins of the First Contact War. It's a graveyard. Perfect place for ghosts then, Do-hyun said, because that's what we are now. The pursuit ships were gaining. Weapons fire streaked past them. Do-hyun pushed the cargo ship harder than it was designed to go. Metal groaned under the stress. Jump coordinates locked, Nari reported, but it's going to be close. A plasma bolt struck their rear shields. The ship shuddered. Warning lights filled the cockpit. Now! Do-hyun shouted. Reality twisted. The FTL drive engaged. Space folded around them. For a moment, everything was wrong and right simultaneously. Then they were somewhere else. The borderlands appeared around them. Empty space filled with debris from old battles. Shattered ships floated like monuments to hatred. Dead satellites tumbled endlessly. This was where the war had burned hottest, where thousands died before the ceasefire. Do-hyun cut the engines to minimum power. They can't track us here. Too much interference from all the wreckage. Everyone sat in silence, breathing hard. The reality of what they'd just done settled over them. They were fugitives now, deserters, traitors in the eyes of both their peoples. Arin's hand found Do-hyun's in the darkness. This time she didn't pull away. The psychic connection flared stronger than ever. Through it they shared everything: fear, determination, and something neither wanted to name. So, Ji-won said from the back, "What's our plan?" Do-hyun looked at Arin. Their eyes met. Through the bond, they communicated faster than words. Ideas and strategies flowed between them. "We find proof," Arin said. "Real, undeniable evidence of the conspiracy. We expose Admiral Yoon and Lord Commander Tavik," Do-hyun added. "And we do it before the bond completes," Arin finished. "Because once it does, neither of our people will listen to us." 1 week, Do-hyun said. "We have 1 week to save the peace, clear our names, and figure out what to do about this." He squeezed Arin's hand. The connection pulsed between them, warm and terrifying and undeniable. 1 week to decide if we're going to become something new or die trying. 3 days in the borderlands changed everything. The cargo ship drifted through fields of wreckage, hiding among the ghosts of old battles. Do-hyun and Arin worked constantly, intercepting communications and tracking down leads. The bond between them grew stronger with each passing hour. They could communicate without speaking now. Just thoughts flowing between minds. When Do-hyun planned a tactical approach, Arin understood it instantly. When Arin sensed emotions from distant ships, Do-hyun felt them too. They were becoming one consciousness in 2 bodies. It was beautiful and terrifying. "I found something," Nari called from her station. "Encrypted transmissions from a hidden base in this sector. The signal matches the codes we saw on Sanctuary Station." Do-hyun and Arin moved to her console in perfect sync. They were doing that more often now, moving like mirror images. "Location?" Do-hyun asked. "Inside the wreckage of New Seoul Station. The first human settlement destroyed in the war. Nothing should be operational there." Through the bond, Do-hyun felt Arin's surge of recognition. She knew that place, had memories of it from her military briefings. "New Seoul," Arin said softly. "Where the war started. Where my people killed 3,000 humans. Where my brother died," Do-hyun added. Through the bond, she felt his old pain, and he felt her guilt even though she hadn't been responsible. "Perfect place for a conspiracy headquarters," Ji-won observed. "No one goes near those ruins. Too many ghosts." "Then we go to the ghosts," Do-hyun said. "Nari, plot a course. Stay low and quiet. If there's an operational base there, it's well hidden." The ruins of New Seoul Station loomed out of the darkness. Once it had been humanity's pride. A city in space with gardens and schools and dreams of the future. Now it was twisted metal and frozen corridors. A monument to how quickly hope could turn to horror. Do-hyun felt Arin's hand slip into his as they approached. Neither commented on it. The touches were automatic now, their bodies gravitating toward each other like magnets. "Scanning for life signs," Nari reported. "I'm getting readings deep in the station's core. Definitely people. Maybe 50 of them." "Both species?" Arin asked. "Yes, human and Velkari heat signatures. They're mixing freely. Whatever this is, both sides are working together." They docked in a hidden bay and suited up. The station had no atmosphere left. They would have to move through vacuum to reach the occupied sections. Do-hyun checked his weapons. Arin prepared her equipment. Through the bond, they coordinated without words. "Ji-won, stay with the ship," Do-hyun ordered. "If we're not back in 2 hours, leave without us." "Not a chance," Ji-won replied. "You need a medical officer if things go wrong." "I'm coming." They moved through the dead station like ghosts themselves. Frozen corpses still floated in some corridors preserved by the vacuum. Human families caught in the attack. Do-Hyun felt Aaron's horror through the bond. She had known the attack was wrong, but seeing the reality was different. The operational sections were deep in the station's core, protected by makeshift airlocks. They found a maintenance entrance. Nari hacked the security systems while the others kept watch. Inside, the temperature rose quickly. Atmosphere returned. They removed their helmets and heard voices ahead. Both human and Velkari speaking openly, they crept closer. Through a window, they saw a command center filled with equipment. Soldiers from both species worked side by side. On the main screen, Admiral Yoon's face appeared next to Lord Commander Tavik's. Phase 2 is ready, Yoon was saying. We have agents in position on both Earth and Velkara Prime. Simultaneous attacks on civilian targets will occur in 72 hours. Each side will blame the other. War will be inevitable. Excellent, Tavik replied. And the fugitives? Still hiding in the borderlands. It doesn't matter. Once the attacks happen, no one will care about a traitor captain and a contaminated princess. They'll be too busy dying. Aaron's patterns flashed bright with anger. Do-Hyun felt it echo through their bond and amplified it back. Their rage fed off each other, growing stronger. We need to record this, Nari whispered. Get proof we can broadcast. Ji-won pulled out a portable recording device. She aimed it at the screen, capturing every word. This was it, the evidence they needed. Then alarms blared. Intruders detected in Sector 7, a mechanical voice announced. All personnel respond. Run! Do-Hyun shouted. They sprinted back through the corridors. Soldiers poured out of the command center behind them. Weapons fire lit up the darkness. Plasma bolts burned through the air. Do-Hyun and Aaron moved in perfect coordination. When he went left, she covered right. When she ducked, he fired over her head. The bond made them a single fighting unit. They were devastating together. But there were too many enemies. A plasma bolt caught Nari in the shoulder. She went down with a cry of pain. Go, she gasped. I'll hold them here. Not happening, Do-Hyun said. He grabbed Nari and hauled her up. Aaron provided covering fire, her movement smooth and deadly. They reached the airlock. Ji-won cycled it frantically. More soldiers appeared at the far end of the corridor. A Velkari commander raised a heavy weapon. Down, Aaron screamed. The weapon fired. A beam of energy so hot it melted the walls. Do-Hyun threw himself over Aaron, shielding her with his body. The beam struck him in the back. Pain exploded through his nervous system. Through the bond, Aaron felt every bit of it. She screamed with him, their agony shared and amplified. Do-Hyun's augmented body kept him alive, but barely. Ji-won pulled them both through the airlock. It sealed behind them. They were in vacuum again, but safe. For now, back on the ship, Ji-won worked frantically to save Do-Hyun's life. The energy weapon had burned through his suit and scorched his back. His augmented healing was fighting the damage, but it wasn't enough. He's dying, Ji-won said bluntly. The burns are too severe. His organs are shutting down. No, Aaron's voice was steel. Her patterns blazed impossibly bright. I won't let him die. Princess, there's nothing. There is. Aaron placed her hands on Do-Hyun's chest. The bond. We're already connected. I can use it to share my life force with him. Velkari can do this for other Velkari. Maybe I can do it for him. That's forbidden, Ji-won said. It's one of the greatest taboos of your species. You'd be giving part of your essence to him, permanently shortening your lifespan. I don't care about taboos. I care about him. Aaron closed her eyes. The psychic connection between them flared like a star going nova. Through it, she poured her own vitality into Do-Hyun's failing body. Life force flowing from one soul to another, the burns began to heal. Faster than any human medicine could achieve, Do-Hyun's augmented system stabilized. His breathing steadied. But Aaron's patterns dimmed. She collapsed beside him unconscious. What did she do? Nari asked, clutching her own bandaged shoulder. Ji-won ran scans. She merged part of herself with him. Their bond is complete now, fully and permanently. They're no longer two separate minds connected by a link. They're one consciousness in two bodies. Hours later, Do-Hyun woke. His back ached, but the damage was healing. He looked for Aaron immediately. She lay beside him, breathing but weak. Her patterns pulsed slowly, showing colors he'd never seen before. Red mixed with her natural blue and gold. Human colors. He took her hand. The psychic connection sang between them, stronger than ever. He could feel everything she felt, think everything she thought. They were truly one now. Erin's eyes opened. She smiled weakly. You're alive, because of you. What did you do? Saved you. The same way you saved me. She looked at her glowing patterns, now permanently altered. I'm not fully Velkari anymore. Your humanity is part of me now, just like my essence is part of you. Do-Hyun felt tears on his face. Through the bond, he knew they were tears of joy from both of them simultaneously. What are we? Something new, Erin replied. Neither human nor Velkari. Both and more. Maybe that's what the galaxy needs. We got the recording, Nari said, interrupting the moment. Everything Yoon and Tavik said. It's enough to expose them. Do-Hyun sat up carefully. Through the bond, he and Erin shared a single thought. Determination. Then we broadcast it to everyone. Both governments, all news networks, every civilian channel. We exposed the conspiracy and stopped the attacks. He looked at Erin. Their eyes met with perfect understanding. We've already lost everything else. Our positions, our reputations, even our separate identities. Might as well save the galaxy while we're at it. The broadcast would need to reach everywhere simultaneously, both human networks and Velkari communication channels. It had to be impossible to suppress. Nari worked for hours, building a signal that would piggyback on every active transmitter in 2 star systems. This will work, she said finally, but we need to get closer. The signal won't be strong enough from here. We need to be near Earth or Velkara Prime. Both are heavily defended, Do-Hyun said. They're expecting us. Every ship will be watching for our signature. Then we split up, Erin suggested. Through the bond, Do-Hyun felt her pain at the idea. They couldn't be far apart anymore. The distance would hurt them both. No, Do-Hyun said firmly. We stay together. Always. Ji-Won looked up from her medical console. There might be another way. I've been analyzing your bond. It's stable now. Permanent. And it's giving you both abilities neither species has alone. Do-Hyun, you have telepathic sensitivity now. Erin, your physical reflexes match human combat training. You're a hybrid consciousness. Maybe that's an advantage. What are you suggesting? Erin asked. Use the bond. Show them what you are. Prove that humans and Velkari can become something better together. Make the broadcast about more than just exposing the conspiracy. Make it about hope. They decided to target the coordinates between both homeworlds, a point where both governments' fleets would be staging for the false flag attacks. If they could broadcast there, both sides would receive the message simultaneously. The journey took 18 hours. Do-Hyun and Erin barely slept. They stood together in the cargo bay, practicing with their merged abilities. His military training flowed through her muscles. Her telepathic senses guided his instincts. They moved like dancers, perfectly synchronized. I can feel your thoughts all the time now, Erin said during a rest. Your memories, your dreams, everything that makes you who you are. It's beautiful and overwhelming. Same, Do-Hyun replied. I know things about your culture I never learned in training. I can speak your language without the translator. I even dream in your memories sometimes. Are you afraid? She asked, terrified. But not of this. He touched her face gently. I'm afraid of losing you. The conspiracy wants us dead. Our own people want us dead. Everyone thinks what we've become is wrong. Then we prove them wrong, Erin said fiercely. We show them that this bond is natural, that our species can coexist, that love is stronger than hatred. Love. They had never said the word before, but through the bond they had felt it growing. Undeniable, unbreakable. Approaching the staging coordinates, Nari announced. Both fleets are here. Human warships on one side, Velkari vessels on the other. They're preparing for simultaneous jumps to their targets. How long until they attack? Do-Hyun asked. 6 hours. Maybe less. Then we broadcast now. Full power. Everything we have. Nari activated the transmission. Their small cargo ship lit up every sensor for light years around. Both fleets detected them immediately. Weapon systems locked on. But before they could fire, the broadcast began. The recording from New Seoul Station played first. Admiral Yoon and Lord Commander Tavik discussing their conspiracy. Planning attacks on civilians. Admitting they wanted war so they could seize power. The evidence was undeniable. Then Do-Hyun and Erin appeared on screen together. Standing close. Holding hands. Their connection visible in the way they moved as one. My name is Captain Do-Hyun Kang of the Earth Defense Force, Do-Hyun said. What you just saw is real. Leaders from both our species are conspiring to restart the war. They want us to destroy each other so they can profit from the bloodshed. I am Princess Erin of House Valara. Aaron continued. The attacks on civilian targets scheduled for today are false flag operations. Each side will blame the other. War will seem inevitable, but it's all a lie. They spoke in turns, their words flowing together naturally. Through the bond, they knew exactly what the other would say. We know what you're thinking, Do-hyun said. Why should you trust us? A deserter and a contaminated princess, fugitives from both our peoples. Because we are proof, Aaron answered. Proof that our species are not natural enemies. We formed a telepathic bond. Something Velkari law says is impossible. Something human science says cannot exist. But here we are. Aaron's glowing patterns pulsed. The camera focused on them. Human colors mixed with Velkari, red and blue and gold together. This bond changed us both, Do-hyun continued. I carry her memories now. I understand her people in ways no human ever has. And she carries mine. She feels our pain, our hopes, our humanity. We are not two anymore, Aaron said. We are one consciousness shared between two bodies. Neither fully human nor fully Velkari. We are both. We are new. We are what our species can become if we choose cooperation over conflict. The conspirators want you to see difference as weakness, Do-hyun said. But our bond proves the opposite. Together we are stronger than either of us could be alone. I have abilities no human has ever possessed. She has skills no Velkari ever mastered. Our differences made us powerful. The attacks planned for today will kill millions, Aaron said urgently. Human civilians on Earth. Velkari families on our homeworld. Innocent people murdered to restart a war. You can stop it. Stand down. Refuse the orders. Investigate the conspiracy. We know what we're asking, Do-hyun said. Disobeying orders. Questioning authority. It goes against everything we're trained to do, but sometimes the right thing and the legal thing aren't the same. They stood together in silence for a moment. Then Aaron spoke again, her voice soft but clear. We have lost everything to bring you this truth. Our careers, our reputations, our place in our own societies. We are hunted by the very people we tried to protect, but we would do it again, because peace is worth any sacrifice. We are not asking you to trust us, Do-hyun finished. We're asking you to think for yourselves. Look at the evidence. Question the narrative. Choose wisely, because the future of two civilizations depends on what happens in the next few hours. The broadcast ended. Silence filled their ship as they waited. Both fleets are receiving the message, Nari reported. It's spreading through military channels, civilian networks, everything. They can't suppress it? Are they still targeting us? Ji-won asked nervously. Yes, multiple ships from both fleets are breaking formation. They're heading this way. Through the bond, Do-hyun and Aaron shared a look. They had expected this. The conspirators would try to kill them before the truth could spread further. Prepare to jump, Do-hyun ordered. Random coordinates. We need to disappear again. Wait, Nari said. Something's happening. The attacking ships they're stopping. And more ships are breaking formation. But they're not pursuing us. They're turning toward each other. On the view screen, they watched as chaos erupted in both fleets. Some ships were trying to carry out the attacks. Others were refusing orders. Human vessels were signaling Velkari ships. Velkari commanders were broadcasting demands for investigations. It's working, Ji-won breathed. They're questioning the orders. The conspiracy is falling apart. But then new contacts appeared on sensors. Smaller, faster ships. Extremist vessels that didn't answer to either government. Those are the true believers, Aaron said. The ones who want war no matter what. They're coming for us. 20 ships. All armed. All focused on destroying the cargo vessel and the 2 people aboard who threatened their vision of eternal conflict. Jump drive is charging, Nari said. 30 seconds, the extremist ships open fire. Plasma bolts and missiles streaked toward them. Their shields flared, taking hit after hit. Alarms blared as systems failed. Shields at 20%, Nari shouted. 10 seconds to jump. More impacts. The ship shuddered. Hull breaches on 3 decks. Atmosphere venting. They weren't going to make it. Then something unexpected happened. Other ships moved between them and the attackers. Human vessels and Velkari cruisers working together, protecting the fugitives. Crews who had heard the broadcast and chosen to believe. Jump, Do-hyun commanded. Reality twisted. They vanished from the battlefield. Behind them, human and Velkari ships fought side by side against the extremists. A new alliance forged in the heat of crisis. When they rematerialized in empty space, everyone sat in stunned silence. They had done it. Exposed the conspiracy. Stopped the attacks. Changed everything. But at what cost? They were still fugitives, still bonded, still living proof of something both societies feared. The war might be over, but their personal battle was just beginning. The message came 3 days after the broadcast. An official summons from both governments. Do-hyun and Aaron were ordered to appear before a joint tribunal on Sanctuary Station. They would be tried for their crimes: desertion, treason, violation of biological protocols. The list went on. It could be a trap, Nari warned. They might execute you the moment you arrive. Or it could be real, Aaron said. A chance to clear our names, to show that what we did was necessary. Through their bond, Do-hyun felt her hope. After everything, she still believed in justice. It made his chest ache. We go, he decided. We face this. We've run far enough. Sanctuary Station looked different when they arrived. The damage from the explosion had been repaired. New security measures were everywhere. But something else had changed too. Human and Velkari guards worked together now. Mixed crews. Cautious but cooperating. They were taken to a massive chamber built specifically for the tribunal. Thousands of seats filled with observers from both species. Representatives from 50 different worlds. The whole galaxy was watching. The judges sat in a semicircle. 6 humans, 6 Velkari, and 1 neutral arbiter from the ancient Trevani collective, a species known for wisdom and fairness. Ambassador Heejin Park stood as their defense attorney. She had survived the explosion and insisted on representing them. What you did saved countless lives, she had told them privately. I won't let them punish you for that. The prosecution was ruthless. They listed every regulation Do-hyun had broken, every law Aaron had violated. They brought expert witnesses who testified that the telepathic bond was unnatural, dangerous, an abomination that threatened the purity of both species. Captain Kang abandoned his post, the human prosecutor declared. He stole military property. He worked with the enemy. These are not the actions of a hero. They are the actions of a traitor. Princess Aaron contaminated her bloodline, the Velkari prosecutor added. She formed a forbidden bond with an inferior species. She brought shame to House Valara and violated ancient laws. By our traditions, her existence is an insult to all Velkari. Through the bond, Do-hyun felt Aaron's pain at those words. Inferior species. After everything they had shared, everything they had become together, people still saw them as separate and unequal. Then the defense began. Ambassador Park called witnesses who had served with Do-hyun. They testified to his bravery, his dedication, his strategic brilliance. They described how he had always put others first. Velkari diplomats who knew Aaron spoke of her intelligence and compassion, her genuine desire for peace, her courage in standing against extremism even when it meant exile. Dr. Jiwon Song presented her research. She explained the science of the bond, showed brain scans proving it was natural, not artificial, demonstrated how human and Velkari neurology were perfectly compatible. This bond is not contamination, Jiwon declared. It's evolution. It's proof that our species can merge into something greater. Every test I've run shows their consciousness is stable, healthy, and actually superior to either species alone. They have abilities neither humans nor Velkari possess individually. Lieutenant Nari described the conspiracy they had uncovered, the evidence they had risked everything to obtain, how Admiral Yoon and Lord Commander Tavik had been arrested based on information Do-hyun and Aaron provided. Without their actions, Nari said firmly, millions would have died. Both governments would have gone to war. Captain Kang and Princess Aaron saved us all. They deserve medals, not punishment. Finally, Do-hyun and Aaron were called to testify. They stood together before the tribunal. Their hands found each other automatically. The bond pulsed between them, visible in the way they moved and breathed in perfect synchronization. Do you regret your actions? The Trevani arbiter asked. Do-hyun and Aaron exchanged a glance. Through the bond, they shared a conversation faster than words. Then Do-hyun spoke. I regret nothing. Every choice I made was to protect innocent lives. If that makes me a traitor, then your definition of loyalty is broken. I regret the pain we caused our families, Aaron added. But I don't regret the bond. I don't regret choosing peace over tradition. And I don't regret him. You understand what you've become? A Velkari judge asked. You are no longer fully of either species. You have changed yourselves permanently. There is no going back. We understand, they said in unison. Their voices overlapped perfectly as if rehearsed but completely natural. "Then let me show you what we are," Aaron said. She stepped forward. Through the bond, she and Do-hyun reached out with their merged telepathic abilities. Everyone in the chamber felt it. A gentle touch on their minds. Not invasive, just enough to share a feeling. The judges. The observers. Thousands of people experiencing a moment of pure understanding. They felt what Do-hyun and Aaron felt. The completeness of their connection. The joy of truly knowing another being. The strength that came from unity. For just a moment, everyone understood what it meant to be bonded. The touch faded. Silence filled the enormous room. Some people were crying. Others sat stunned. The Velkari judges had patterns glowing in colors that showed shock and awe. "That is what we are," Do-hyun said quietly. "Not human. Not Velkari. Both and more. We are proof that your fears are wrong. That cooperation is possible. That love can bridge any divide." The tribunal deliberated for 3 days. The wait was torture. Do-hyun and Aaron remained in a secure room, supervised but not imprisoned. They spent the time together talking and planning and simply being. "What happens if they convict us?" Aaron asked one night. "Execution probably, or life imprisonment." "I'm not afraid," she said. "Not anymore. Whatever happens, we face it together." Do-hyun pulled her close. Through the bond, he shared everything he felt. Love, gratitude, acceptance. She shared the same back. 2 souls that had become one. Finally, they were summoned back to the tribunal chamber. The judges sat in grim silence. The Trevani arbiter stood to deliver the verdict. After careful consideration of all evidence and testimony, this tribunal has reached a decision. Captain Do-hyun Kang and Princess Aaron of House Valara, you are found guilty of violating existing laws and regulations. Your actions, while well-intentioned, broke numerous rules governing military conduct and biological protocols. Through the bond, they gripped each other tighter. This was it, the end. However, the arbiter continued, we also find you innocent of moral wrongdoing. Your bond, while unprecedented, is not unnatural. Your actions saved millions of lives. You exposed a conspiracy that would have destroyed both civilizations. Therefore, this tribunal issues the following sentence. The arbiter paused. The tension in the room was suffocating. You will not be executed. You will not be imprisoned. Instead, you are hereby appointed as co-chairs of the newly formed Human Velkari Integration Council. Your mission is to manage peaceful relations between our species, to study cross-species bonds, to prevent future conflicts. You will serve as permanent ambassadors bound by law to maintain peace. Shock rippled through the chamber. This was not punishment. This was recognition, acceptance. You wanted to bridge our species, the arbiter said. Now you must. Your bond makes you uniquely qualified. Use it. Show us all what is possible when we choose understanding over fear. Do-hyun and Aaron stood in stunned silence. Through the bond, they shared disbelief, joy, and overwhelming relief. Do you accept this sentence? The arbiter asked. They looked at each other. Through their connection, no words were needed. Then they faced the tribunal and spoke as one. We accept. The chamber erupted. Some cheered. Some protested. But the decision was made. Do-hyun and Aaron would live. They would work. They would prove that their bond was just the beginning. As they left the tribunal, Nari met them with a wide grin. Congratulations, ambassadors. Now the real work begins. Ji-won was there too, already planning research projects. We need to document everything about your bond. Other couples might form similar connections. We need to understand the process. Other couples? Aaron asked. You didn't see? Ji-won smiled. Your testimony inspired people. There are already 17 confirmed human Velkari pairs who have started forming bonds. Applications are flooding in for cultural exchange programs. You opened a door. Now others are walking through it. Through their connection, Do-hyun and Aaron shared a single thought. Hope. Real. Tangible hope for a future where their species didn't just coexist but merged into something beautiful. The trial was over. But their true purpose was just beginning. 3 months passed. The Integration Council had offices on Sanctuary Station now. Real offices with staff and budgets and actual authority. Do-hyun and Aaron worked 18-hour days, managing cultural exchanges, mediating disputes, and helping new bonded pairs understand what was happening to them. But extremists still existed. On both sides, there were those who saw the mixing of species as an abomination. They organized. They planned. and they waited for their moment. That moment came on a quiet afternoon. Do-hyun was reviewing settlement proposals when the alarms started. Not station security alarms, emergency evacuation signals, the kind that meant immediate danger to everyone aboard. Through the bond, he felt Erin's spike of fear from 3 sections away. She was in a meeting with Velkari diplomats. He ran toward her location as the station shook with the first explosion. Nari's voice crackled over the comm system. Multiple breaches. We're under attack! Extremist forces are boarding the station. Do-hyun rounded a corner and found chaos. Armed extremists, both human and Velkari, were moving through the corridors. They were killing anyone who tried to stop them. Security forces fought back but were overwhelmed. He reached Erin's location. She was protecting a group of civilians, her telepathic abilities creating a barrier that confused the attackers. When she saw Do-hyun, relief flooded through their bond. They're targeting the Integration Council offices, Erin said quickly. They want to kill us and destroy everything we've built. How many? Hundreds. This is coordinated. They've been planning this for months. Through their connection, they formed a plan instantly. No words needed. Just shared tactical understanding. Get these people to the evacuation pods, Do-hyun ordered the nearby security. We'll hold here. Sir, you can't hold this position alone, a human guard protested. We're not alone, Erin said. She reached out with her telepathic senses. Through the bond, Do-hyun felt her connecting to other minds across the station. Other bonded pairs, 17 of them scattered throughout Sanctuary Station, all feeling the same call to action. We're coming. Voices spoke through Erin's telepathic link. Human voices and Velkari voices blending together. Hold on. We're coming. The extremists attacked in waves. Do-hyun and Arn fought side by side, moving like parts of one organism. His combat training flowed through her muscles. Her telepathic senses guided his aim. They were perfectly synchronized, impossibly effective. Then the other bonded pairs arrived, each couple fighting with the same unity, human reflexes and Velkari telepathy combined. They were outnumbered but not outmatched. The extremists had weapons in numbers. The bonded had something stronger, connection, understanding, unity. But the extremists had one more weapon. In the station's Garden of Unity, where human and Velkari plants grew side by side, they had planted bombs. Enough explosive to destroy half the station, to kill thousands, to prove that mixing species only led to death. The garden, Erin gasped. Through her telepathic link with the other pairs, she felt the bombs activating. They're going to blow up the garden. We have minutes. Do-hyun and Erin ran. Behind them, the other bonded pairs held the line, buying them time. They burst into the garden to find it in flames. The extremists had started fires to hide their retreat. Smoke filled the massive biodome. There, Do-hyun pointed. Through the smoke, they could see the leader of the extremist force, a Velkari commander standing next to a human admiral, the last remnants of the conspiracy that had started this all. You should have died in the borderlands, the admiral spat. You and your perverted bond. You're destroying everything our species fought for. We fought for survival, the Velkari commander added. For purity. For separation. Not this corruption. You fought for hatred, Erin said clearly. For division. For war without end. We fight for hope, Do-hyun added. For a future where our children don't have to choose between being human or Velkari. Where they can be both. There will be no children, the admiral said. He raised a detonator. Because there will be no future. Not for you. Not for this abomination of a station. When these bombs explode, the whole galaxy will see what happens when species mix. They'll see death and destruction. They'll see we were right. No, a voice said from behind them. Ambassador Heejin Park emerged from the smoke, supported by security forces. She was bloodied but alive. They'll see sacrifice. They'll see courage. They'll see people who chose to protect others even when it meant facing death. Dr. Jiwon appeared beside her, carrying medical equipment, and they'll see science triumphing over superstition. Evidence defeating prejudice. Progress overcoming fear. Lieutenant Nari limped forward, weapon ready. Most importantly, they'll see you lose again. Just like you lost when Captain Kang and Princess Erin exposed your conspiracy. Just like you're losing now. The Admiral's hand tightened on the detonator. One press. That's all it takes. We all die together. A fitting end. Then press it, Do-hyun said calmly. Through the bond, he and Erin had already made their choice. If they died here protecting others, their sacrifice would mean something. It would prove that the bond was real, that love was stronger than hate. Touch me again, Aaron whispered, taking Do-hyun's hand. Their patterns blazed with shared light. Human red and Velkari blue merged into brilliant purple. Even if it's our ruin. Touch me again. Their psychic connection exploded outward, not just between them, but through all 17 bonded pairs on the station, a network of minds linked by love and understanding. The wave of psychic energy reached every person in the garden. Every extremist, every security officer, every civilian hiding in fear. For one perfect moment, everyone felt what the bond had felt. Complete acceptance, total understanding, the absolute certainty that differences were beautiful, not threatening. That connection was natural, not aberrant. The Admiral's hand dropped from the detonator. Tears streamed down his face. The Velkari commander's patterns shifted through colors of confusion, realization, and finally shame. Around them, extremists lowered their weapons. The Admiral couldn't find words. What have we done? Security forces moved in carefully, disarming, arresting, but there was no more fighting. The psychic wave had broken something in the attackers, shattered the certainty that had driven their hatred. Do-hyun and Aaron collapsed together, exhausted. The psychic effort had drained them completely, but they were alive. Everyone was alive. The bombs were defused. The attack was over. Days later, Do-hyun and Aaron stood in the rebuilt garden. The fires had been extinguished. New plants were already being cultivated. Human flowers next to Velkari trees, growing together. Around them, life on Sanctuary Station had changed. There were 40 bonded pairs now. More forming every day. Mixed crews were standard. Human children played with Velkari younglings. The first mixed colony was being established on a new world. They were calling it Harmony. Do you think it will last? Aaron asked. Peace, I mean. Real peace, I don't know, Do-hyun admitted. People will always find reasons to fear what's different. But now they also have reasons to hope. They've seen what we can become together. A young girl approached them, half human, half Velkari, the first natural hybrid born from a bonded pair. Her skin had faint glowing patterns like her Velkari parent, but her features were a perfect blend of both species. Ambassador Aaron? The child asked shyly. My teacher says you and Ambassador Kang saved everyone. Is that true? Aaron knelt to the child's level. We did what anyone would do. We protected the people we love. Because of the bond? The child's eyes were wide with curiosity. Because of love, Do-hyun corrected gently. The bond just helped us understand it. The child smiled and ran back to her parents. A human mother and Velkari father who held hands and watched their daughter with obvious pride. That's what we fought for, Aaron said softly. Children who will never understand why our species were enemies. Who will see diversity as normal, as beautiful. Do-hyun pulled her close. Through their bond, they shared everything. 5 years of memories. The rescue. The conspiracy. The running. The trial. The attack. All of it had led to this moment. To peace, to hope, to a future neither species could have built alone. Do you remember what you said? Do-hyun asked. That first time in the burning garden when the extremists gave you the choice? Aaron's patterns glowed warm and bright. Touch me again, human. Even if it's our ruin. It wasn't our ruin, Do-hyun said. It was our salvation. You were right from the beginning. We had to become something new. Something neither species could predict or control. And now others are following, Aaron added, creating their own bonds, building their own bridges. We started it, but they're finishing it. They stood together as the garden's artificial sunset painted everything in golden light. Two beings who had started as enemies, who had become bonded, who had chosen each other over everything else, who had proved that love could change the galaxy. Touch me again, Aaron whispered. Do-hyun smiled and took her hand. The bond sang between them, warm and eternal and absolutely right. Always, he promised. Even if it's our ruin, even if it's our salvation. Always. And in the garden where fire had once threatened to destroy everything, new life grew. Human and Velkari together, different but unified. Proof that touch could heal, that connection could save. That love, in the end, was the strongest force in the universe. The end.